Unfortunately, we saw two broken hands last night in the NBA. First with Scottie Barnes breaking his left third metacarpal here due to some friendly fire on this play. And then Russell Westbrook breaking his hand as he tried to reach in here to make this steal against Jordan Poole. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Sutterer, and my goal on the channel is to help teach you about the medical side of the sports world. If you were early enough this morning, you'll know I already uploaded this video once, but I made a mistake. That's what I get for recording first thing in the morning. It's been a while. I completely missed this when I was looking at Scottie Barnes' hand. I was thinking as he held it that it was his right hand as he came up here and struck the rim, and so I made the whole video talking about the mechanism being the time here when he hit the hand, but completely goofed that up. It was in fact his left hand. It was in fact here as he got some friendly fire from his own teammate. So took the video down, we're redoing it. My mistake, but thanks for pointing it out. Now that I realize it, Barnes is pretty clearly holding his left hand here as he comes down from this play. And then if we back that up, we clearly see where quickly just inadvertently made contact with Barnes. This is just terrible luck because we can see Barnes is trying to go up. I will say I don't really know based on his kind of position and where he was trying to block this shot. I don't think he was ever going to get to it to block this shot. So this was just a bit of an awkward play to begin with. But we can see here as Barnes swings that left hand up, he just catches his fingers and kind of bends his fingers awkwardly on Quickly's shin. We can see here specifically how everything just gets kind of bent backwards. And whenever you bend those MCP joints, those joints through the hand, you're going to put a lot of excessive force on the metacarpal bone, similar to if you say swing your hand and hit the front of the basketball rim. And so this, of course, was just the incidental contact that resulted in that awkward force going through his palm, leading to that third metacarpal break. Now Westbrook's, I think I was still okay on the first time, but as we can see here, as he was kind of reaching around to try and make this steal, we see that hand kind of awkwardly, it looks like it initially contacts Poole's left forearm and elbow as he swipes through, and so that might have been the moment where it occurred, and then he kind of jams it awkwardly on the basketball. Nothing as clearly traumatic as what we saw in Barnes's case, and I will say, whenever we hear about somebody having a hand fracture, technically the fingers include the hand, and with Barnes, we heard it was specifically a third metacarpal. For Westbrook, we haven't heard specifically what bone of the hand, so I guess there is still a possibility this could just be a finger fracture from how he jammed it up against the basketball here, which would be nice because likely would result in less of an absence. So next then, as we go to our biodigital anatomy tool, let's talk about those different metacarpal bones and the general principles of how we treat these. So looking here at the backside of a right hand, just anatomic descriptions, the backside of the hand is going to be the dorsum. So back of the hand, top of the hand, the dorsal side of the hand. The palm is going to be the volar side of the hand. So the back side of the hand right here, as we then rotate through around, we're going to get more to that volar palmar side. Metacarpal bones are right here. The first is the thumb metacarpal, second, third, fourth, and fifth is your pinky. A lot of people like to specifically say like pinky finger, ring finger, long finger, pointer finger, thumb, because some conventions people will try and name the index finger as the first metacarpal, which gets really confusing, but we're going to assume they're doing it the standard way, meaning the thumb is the first, second, and then the third is going to be the metacarpal, so the bone in the palm where his middle finger is then coming out. Anatomic regions of the metacarpal bones, the bottom part down here is going to be the base of the metacarpal. Then we're going to have the shaft right through here. And then of course the neck is where the shaft transitions to the head. And then this portion is going to be the head of the metacarpal. The decision for surgery or no surgery depends on, of course, how displaced those fracture fragments are and where it's located. As a general rule of thumb, as you move from the thumb outward, so the first towards the fifth metacarpal, we tolerate more angulation, we tolerate more movement of the fracture pieces for conservative non-surgical management. The third is a little bit in the middle, but for example, a boxer fracture is going to be a fracture of the neck of the fifth metacarpal. So we might have this severe angulation where this part of the metacarpal is tilted over that way. We tolerate a pretty high angle of positioning here compared to what we'll tolerate in the first metacarpal because of all the pulling forces through the bones and how likely things are to heal and have any sort of a functional impact. So general principles, think as you go from the first out towards the fifth, more movement of those fracture pieces, more displacement of the fracture pieces is more acceptable in the third, fourth, and fifth to allow for conservative management compared to the first. We don't know in Barnes's case where in this third metacarpal it is, other than it is the third metacarpal. And of course, for Westbrook, we don't know, in fact, if it is a metacarpal or if it's one of his phalanges in the fingers, but we'll just go with the hand since that's what they said. When we talk about recovery time, Jeff Stotts put out some great information last night where a third metacarpal fracture specifically is about a month if it's treated without surgery and even longer if surgery is required. I would expect the same sort of timeline if this ends up being like a fourth or a fifth metacarpal for Westbrook in terms of surgery or no surgery. The challenge with basketball and finger fractures is the healing time is the same compared to something like football. But in football, we can put somebody in a big club padded cast where they can still compete. If they're a lineman, they can still block, they can still tackle, but you can immobilize them in a way that still lets them play their sport. In basketball, you can't safely immobilize a fracture in a way that lets them still play their sport before you get further out. And so, for example, a boxer fracture, you're probably looking at 4 weeks in a cast before you're going to be back out there playing basketball at a minimum. So that's the reason why we see longer recovery times in basketball. It's not because the fracture takes longer to heal. It's because we can't safely immobilize somebody to get them back into their sport like we can for something like football, where you might only miss a week or two, if anything. So we'll see what transpires for both of these guys. Like I said, I would expect about a month for both of them at least, unless we find out that Westbrook's is more of a finger fracture, in which case I would expect a sooner recovery. Thanks again to everybody who pointed out my goof up with Barnes. Feel terrible. I was kind of joking about him just swinging and hitting the rim. I was completely wrong. I missed that. I messed that up. Went too fast trying to review things. Seemed like he reacted after he hit the rim. So thanks for pointing it out. Corrected it. Took that video down. This is the correction one if you're looking for that initial upload. So thanks as always. Let me know any questions or comments down below in case we need to redo this one. Hopefully not. And until next time, we'll see you later.